What's good, YouTube? What's good? What's good? What's good? It's Aquarius Leviathan Prophecy, and I slept with my Aquarius shirt on. you know. But today's video is about Kevin Durant. Now, what I'm about to say, let me just put it right here so I don't have to keep on holding it. I need to buy like one of those. But then again, my tab, I don't even think my tab is going to be strong enough to hold that stick. But anyways, today's video is about Kevin Durant. And why do I think Kevin Durant is the biggest failure superstar in sports? Right? Kevin Durant spent the first 7 years in OKC, right? I remember when he got drafted, and my brother was huge on him. He liked his style, he liked his frame, he liked his height, he liked his talent. He said this guy is gonna be the next big thing, kind of like Brock Lesnar. And I said I don't trust him. I didn't question his basketball talent. I just questioned his decision making. And this is when he was coming out of Texas, okay? Texas Longhorns. He got drafted in the 2009 or 8 season. No, 2009, because Westbrook got drafted in 2008. He got drafted in 2009. He spent the first, I'll probably say he spent the first 8 years in OKC. Before OKC, there was the Supersonics. Supersonics was obviously going out of business, right? The team was plummeting. The team was going to go into extinction, which it did. The team moved to OKC, and it really didn't have one of those best starts. The team slowly diminished, but draft pick after draft pick after draft pick, they drafted Baca, they drafted Harden, they drafted Westbrook, and then that's when you saw the team mold into a very good competitor. They dominated the West. They dominated the West, even with Kobe there, Dirk there. You still had the San Antonio Spurs big three there at the time. They dominated, or they couldn't really get over the hump, a few times, a few years. KD was playing out of his mind, right? Obviously, they let the training wheels off of him because obviously they was just, limiting his, playing minutes, and then until they said that, let's just, let him loose, let's see what he can do. He had everything that you want in the caliber superstar, but his decision making questioned a lot of people. They had a lot of ups and downs. They made it past Kobe, they made it past Dirk, they made it past fast forward to 2010, 11, 12. They passed all those guys, right? The Spurs, the Mavericks, the Lakers, just to make it to the NBA Finals for the first time, just to get annihilated by the Heat. They only won one game, and that was game 1. And after that, Miami Heat just smoked them out the water. And then after that, then you started to see the domino effect, right? KD was just frustrated. He was putting astronomical numbers. He was getting MVP votes. He won the 2015 MVP. But they were still finding a lot of exits. And then he collapsed. And he said, I had enough. Westbrook is not it. James Harden obviously forced his way out of, OKC to Houston. So it was just them two, with Ibaka. He said, I can't win here. So KD made the dumbest mistake that he could ever make. But again, that's not our question. That's not ours to question. It was his decision, not ours. I'm pretty sure if we was left with that decision, would you rather stay another 5 years in OKC, wasting your years there, knowing damn well you'll never go back or even sniff a championship with Westbrook, knowing how he plays? Or do you want to go anywhere else? Go anywhere else. Hell, you could go to Washington, where KD's from. But at the time they still had John Wallace, they had Bradley Beal, they still had Gortat, they still had a decent roster, right? They still had Nene, they still had a decent roster. But no, he didn't want to go there. Okay, go to Miami. The big three's over there. Well, 2000 and yeah, James was only there for like 2 years, or yeah, he was just only there for 2 years, or yeah, 4 trips, because they made the finals 4 times. They just won 2 championships out of 4 trips. They only won 2 chips, because it was a tie between the Spurs won one, and after that, the following next year, the Heat got their revenge on the Spurs, whatever. No, he didn't want to go there. Boston, no. The Knicks. The Knicks were still a decent team, but they had Melo, and I didn't really see them. I didn't really see KD and Melo on the same page like that. And then plus they have Morris Stoudemire, so no. Brooklyn at the time, they also had a decent roster with Darren Williams, Joe Johnson, Gerald Wallace. You know what I'm saying? So no. So they said, you know what? I'm just gonna wait. I'm just gonna wait. I was gonna wait. So he waited. Boom. Still nothing. Putting up astronomical numbers and missing the playoffs. So he said, you know what? I quit. They got dumped, right? They faced the OKC. No, they faced the Golden State Warriors at the time. The Golden State Warriors, I believe, was coming off their first championship. The team that they were up in that lead. If you go back and look at that game, they're up 3 games to 1. And then they made, I'm not going to say they made, but the Golden State Warriors made a big comeback. They were down 1-3, and then all of a sudden it was 2-3, and then it was 3-3, and then they beat them 4-3, and then they advanced. So that 2017 season, KD had enough. He requested this trade, and then he got traded to the Golden State Warriors. Left Westbrook high and dry, right? It was a business. He said in an interview, he said it was a business decision. It wasn't nothing personal. I still view Westbrook as a brother to me. It was no homage to him at all. It was just the organization just wasn't really on the same page. That's what he said, quote unquote. So the team that beat him in the playoffs, he joined, and he won 2 championships out of that. And then he left. Instead of just co-writing, which obviously I understand by his part, that's the only time I'm going to defend him. He didn't want to be in Curry's shadow. He took his 2 championships and he left. Now, what KD should have done was he should have pulled a Draymond Green. Like why leave? I mean, you're guaranteed a final spot almost every single year. You're going back to the West. I mean, you're going back to the East to play for a Brooklyn team that has never sniffed a championship since 2003 when they got obliterated by the Lakers with Shaq and Kobe. I mean, the Nets had so many good talent come through that organization. Doc, Jefferson, Kmart, Kidd, Harris. Like, they had so many great, Vince Carter. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had so many great talent come through that organization, and they still haven't won crap. And to this day, they still haven't won crap. And you chose to go to Brooklyn over the Knicks. Now, at the time, the Knicks was a very dysfunctional team at the time. Obviously they had Phil Jackson there. He drafted Frank Ntilikina, and then after that, the sixth pick, he drafted Porzingis, which everybody booed, and then come to find out, everybody was cheering for him. Typical New York fans. They'll boo, and then once they, get a glimpse of you or whatever, that you see what you can do and shit, they'll start, liking you again. Same thing with typical New Yorkers. But I could see why he didn't want to go to the Knicks at the time, because the Knicks wasn't really good. They really wasn't. So he said, you know what, Curry, I like you, I respect you. Well, not really like you, but I respect you, but I gotta go. He dipped again. KD is like that guy who can't seem to be in a relationship long term because he has no loyalty. He really doesn't. Outside of his 7 or 8 or 9 years with OKC, plus a little time that he had with the Supersonics before they dispatched, that was the only time he was loyal. He couldn't take it no more. So you beat the team that you got beaten against in the playoffs, and you join them. You win 2 championships, and then you dip and you go to Brooklyn with Kyrie and James Harden. And you got swept twice. You got swept by the you got swept by Milwaukee Bucks, and then you got swept by the Bucks. I mean by the Boston Celtics. Right? And then you said, you know what, I can't win here neither. So what do? You request a trade once again, and now you're on the Phoenix Suns. And then you still lost to the Milwaukee Bucks. But I don't think he was playing because I think he was injured. No. This is way before he got there. My bad. This is way before he got there. This is a year later he got there, right? And it was just hot potato, and now he's probably going to do it again. So my problem is with KD. It's not his talent, it's just his decision making is poor. He has poor decision making. He really does. Because at least LeBron James stayed there for 2 years and won a championship. He stayed there for 4 trips, 2 champions. Yeah, so he obviously, when he lost against the Dallas Mavericks, it was like, okay, I need to step up my game. Not just win 2 championships and dip. The reason why he dipped, the reason why LeBron James dipped was because he promised Cleveland a championship, which I respect that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's from Cleveland, Ohio. The Cavaliers haven't won a championship in so many years, 40, 45 years. They drought that they haven't won a championship. He goes back and wins them a championship against the team that KD was on. But then again, that Draymond Green suspension is always going to come up. I think the factor is, it wouldn't make any difference, because they won game 1, right? Game 2, obviously, they had to tie that game, and that Draymond Green suspension was a little bit suspicious, because obviously Green was their best rim protector, right? Even though they had Bogut at the time. Andrew Bogut, but obviously enough said. But yeah, that's the only reason why I respected LeBron James for going back. He had a reason. He wanted to deliver a championship to his team, right? and he vowed to do that, right? And then after that, he obviously, that J.R. Smith, which was in game one, so I don't really think why it was such a big deal. It was not like it was a game seven, you know what I'm saying? And then Hill didn't make it any better by missing those free throws. So, um, and then he tore his Achilles against the Raptors, right? Obviously, that's when they had Kawhi Leonard, and they traded for DeMar DeRozan. They sent DeMar DeRozan to the Raptors and stuff to get Kawhi Leonard. And another thing, if Kevin Durant didn't blow his Achilles, what I'm saying, they would have won. No, I mean the Raptors was more of a stacked team. They really were from top to bottom. They had Marcus Gasol, they had Kyle Lowry, what I'm saying. They had Kawhi Leonard, they had what was Pascal Siakam still on that team? I think he was. I can't remember. But they were a loaded team. They really were. And that's what happens. When you have an injured guy, you take advantage. Any scraps, any misplay, any little tiny detail, you take advantage of it. Because it's gonna pop up. Oh, they only won because such and such was injured. That's their whole routine. That's everybody's whole routine. If a key player's not there, they're gonna say, "Oh, you only won because he wasn't there." It's just stupid. Because if you go back and look at that Draymond Green suspension, that was game two. Look at game one versus game two. Two totally different scenarios. If Draymond Green was there for game one, still didn't do anything. So the fact that he got suspended game two, which they needed to win that game, which obviously they didn't. That obviously caused a pause. So Kevin Durant decision making is poor. It really is. That's the only one knock I have on him is he doesn't think things through. He doesn't second guess himself. He just, what I'm saying? So if it doesn't work with the Phoenix Suns, they required Bradley Beal, which I don't think it's gonna help. They reshuffled the deck. I mean, they reshuffled the roster. They had to trade pieces to get pieces here and there, which is fine. What I'm saying? To shorten the bench, make sure they have like a good loaded bench, which you need in the playoffs. Will that be enough? No, it's not. Now, the Suns are very favorite in Vegas' eyes to win it all, right? Since then, since KD made that blockbuster trade to the Suns, now the Bucks are heavy favorite now because of that Dame Leonard trade, right? And then you go against the Celtics. The Celtics made that huge splash to get Drew Holiday. So they probably slightly favorite to win it all again. Or to slightly win it all. I don't see the Nuggets repeating at all. Maybe in another 2-3 years they might, win another one. But right now, no, I don't see them repeating. Hell, Golden State didn't even repeat last year, the following last year. So, I mean, they still got their core together, don't get me wrong. I think they just needed like an elite big man. I think they just needed an elite big man to take the pressure off of Jokic. Because Jokic can play the 5 or the 4. But they just need that, I mean, they have Bol, but they didn't really pay him all too much, But, yeah, I mean, that's the only thing I question about KD's decision making. He has poor decision making. And I told my brother that years ago. I told my brother that years ago. He's great talent, but he just has poor decision making. And look at me. I was right all along. I mean, he has no loyalty at all. So if it doesn't work out here, then what he's gonna do? What he's gonna do? You know, he might as well call it quits or retire. I mean, I'm pretty sure your legacy is submitted. You know, I don't think you're gonna get there. I don't think you're gonna get in first ballot, but you might probably get in second ballot or whatever. But he has a lot left in the tank, though. I mean, he's still in his prime. Um, but if it does, like I said, if it doesn't work out, what is he gonna do? Is he gonna resign? Is he gonna say, yeah, you know what, the course was good. I mean, the run was good, but I can't I can't win here. I can't win here. So what he's gonna do? He's gonna put his tails between his legs and go to where you know the good team is. But then again, who's gonna take him? Who's gonna trade their assets to get KD? Nobody. So KD has to make this work. KD has to make this work. They got rid of Chris Paul, which was not a good move at all. But then again, I mean, they traded their best center, Aiden, for quality, draft pick, no, for quality, players. But was that enough? Was that enough? So we'll see. We'll see. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll put the link in the description box down below. Shout out to Gilbert Arenas. Shout out to Gilbert. Yeah, Gilbert Arenas TV show, I should probably say, or podcast, I should probably say. So yeah, so like, comment, subscribe. Till next time, take care of yourself and each other.